Greetings and welcome back, everybody. This is Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett, here as always with Kyle. And we didn't have a chance. Kyle, to sink our teeth into the first patch of 2022 because last week we were having an awesome chat with, I can now say, our good buddy Chillrog. He's now been on the show. Really liked that interview. It was good hanging out with him. And of course, we were gonna get his thoughts and hear all about the Miami Defrost LAN last weekend, which is a really cool event. Holy crap, dude! That space is insane.
Yeah,
see all the photos coming out of that thing.
Good time. Stream went well. Everything seemed to go extremely well for him. So congratulations on the successful event at Chili Mountain.
Yeah. Thank you for keeping the dream alive. I think I tweeted as much. Heroes of the Storm LAN in the year 2022.
It was cool to see.
Who'd have thought? Yeah, it's a really cool space. But yeah, today we're going to have our big patch episode. You know, we talked a little bit about it last week, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty this week and look at everything. Because I need to know what's going on besides just playing Malthael. Because that's all I took away from this patch.
I can tell you that I have been in the thick of the NGS tournament now. Maybe not. Maybe the beginning. But still, we're 2 matches into that tournament in the Nexus division, which is below Storm division. So kind of the plat to Grandmaster, but not really the Grandmaster's tryout altogether. The tournament mode that is the Storm division. We're losing right now. It's going all right. I get to play support this season, though. You know, I get to heal, which is really, really thrilling for a number of reasons. One, I've never really done it in a serious capacity. So my Anduin skills have greatly increased over the past few weeks as I've been put on that a lot by Cavalier guests, mainly Stukov, Rhaegar banned out. Got to play some Rhaegar this week, too. It's been a lot of fun for that diversification of roles and getting to learn so many different things. Flying in on Porky's, Zeratul as Brightwing and doing the polymorph as soon as I come in for the 2-man gank. It's a really good time, but we do have some growing pains as we figure out these enemy teams, which have been together for 4 seasons. With all that excitement, I am sad to report, at least in my neck of the woods, that this balance patch hasn't really changed much.
I was curious about that because there were some things getting tweaked that I was excited about, but none of it seemed meta focused, except for Rhaegar.
Yeah, there's definitely the Rhaegar nerfs you would expect. There's some incentivizations. There's a Probius cleanup that's going on in here. There's some cute ideas like the new Greymane stuff, but there's no Johanna for one, which feels a little out of place.
Yeah. Hey, dude, but don't worry. There's more Stukov changes that I don't think will make any difference.
No, and those haven't had really that big of an impact. It's still just a problem that Stukov, from his base design, has a heroic on his basic kit. And it's just really, really impactful. And there's really easy ways to combo off of it, whether you're using a heroic like Entomb, or you're doing a zombie wall, or you're doing any sort of stun. There's just a lot of playmaking potential in Stukov as a character. So his heal power being what it is not balanced with his CC power. And it's got to be a tightrope. I do not want to be the designer who has to make that choice. Do we make an unfun healer and lean into the CC-ness? Or do we really go after these lurking arm builds and make those less successful? And we've had heroes like this in the past where an ability is just sitting there, it's good as it is, and there's not really any talents for it.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, what do you do to adjust it, right? Like, silence is binary. You are either silenced or you are not.
Right.
It's I don't know. There's been thoughts rattling around my brain with something like that it would be interesting if, I don't know, Unstoppable was activatable even if you were silenced, or Unstoppable would let you cast spells if you were silenced. But I think it's only really an issue with Stukov, and I think it would really deflate silence's power on everything else that causes silence.
There's some cool thoughts like how Lucio currently works, where he does the high five, but on the travel there, he's not unstoppable. Then having high fived, he becomes unstoppable along with his target. And that's actually used in a really weird way currently versus Junkrat, where Junkrat has 2 traps in the late game. We all hate it. We all know it. And so you high five.
I'm sorry, were you trying to stop me from going on a tirade?
I was just covering our bases.
Oh, all right,
So,
all out.
You high five to the first target, and then while unstoppable as Lucio, you go jump in the second trap. So you cleanse the one off the first trap, remove the second one with your body, and that is a really cute counterplay. Like that takes some effort. Stukov, it has its issues.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because it's the stuff that are easy that you can dial in, that are actual dials that aren't just an on-off thing like silence. Like, how much do you reduce it until Stukov is like one of these Genji type heroes that is so dangerous in the hands of top percent players that he just becomes unusable in the game at home in an uncoordinated environment. Your Medivhs, your Genjis, your Anas that are just mopping up the lowest win rate in the game.
Yeah, and then you've got tournament play, right? And some of these are based around tournament play. There's a couple of little changes here. I do want to take that moment and say that this is not just the nerf back going everything in the end of CCL, season here. It's not a destructive patch in that way, and there are some really cute ideas, such as Genji buffs, which might have an impact in future tournaments and do seem really fun. And I think our main toy for this particular patch would be Greymane, or maybe Nova. If you're a Nova player, you might be excited.
Yeah, overall, I do like this patch because I think it is more trying to create new opportunities for the average player at home. I feel like the last couple of patches were much more a reaction to CCL, which is fine. I'm glad they're paying attention. I want my esports to be interesting too. But as a non-competitive player, I want some love as well. I want my game shifted around. I want, and after getting personal, after you came for literally everything I play in 2021, I'd like some new toys. And I think I have one in Mouthfeel. So that's really cool for me. It's not. I think this is overall a good mix. Like I'm goofing on Stukov a little bit. Like, oh look, more Stukov changes that aren't going to make much of a difference. I understand the challenge. It's a hard hero to try and find a way to rein in power. But overall, it seems like a good mix of a patch as far as trying to give us some new toys to play with, and also trying to rein in the meta and the competitive scene a little bit. I think it's a good spread. So before we dive into it, beat by beat, hero by hero, change by change, we want to thank those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. I mean, as amazed as I am by a Heroes LAN in 2022, I do have to stop and realize I'm still doing a Heroes of the Storm podcast in 2022, and that's just rad to me. Like HGC going away and all those kinds of things have no bearing on this, but there's just a part of my brain, Kyle, where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't expect most game-specific podcasts that I do to really last like more than 4 years. Just in general.
We're
I feel,
on 7?
Yeah, I kind of like, we all like, because our first thing was StarCast, and we're like, yeah, show lasts for like 3.5 years, and then a new game comes along, and you shift with the times, you go where your interests lie. But here we are. So it's really rad that y'all are out there and you still find the show worth listening to and you find it worth supporting. So thank you, everybody, for your support, because it literally helps Kyle and me pay our bills. So check it out. If you like what we're doing here and you want to support the two of us, patreon.com/ITN. And to our latest patron, thank you, Martin Lingnau, for supporting us here. If you've never checked out the Patreon, you'll get access to our Discord server, and you can play with us on our monthly game nights, our patron bonanzas, as we like to call them. We'll have one coming up for February real soon. It won't be a Valentine's one. I don't know what we would be. Kyle, you and I could wear like really nice like silk shirts. And
We can just but there's Valentine's Day skins in the game, right? Well, the Anubrak, is that the no. We got like Heart Tyrande back in the day. There's pink skins we could all put on. We could pull it off. You know?
oh, okay. I was going a completely
Yeah.
different way. I was going to say send your Garrett and Kyle fan art somewhere. Anyways, let's get into this week, which is kind of last week's Here's the Storm news.
We're on, boys! Ha ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
Let's also try and analyze the cadence at which patches are coming, because it's been a little strange. So this patch came out on February 1st, and the last patch we got was December 7th. So it was slightly less than 2 months.
Right, but we also have what was known as the long Christmas meta, which actually didn't feel that bad this year. You know, outside of Rhaegar running amok, it wasn't burdened with something broken, perhaps. Maybe personal opinion. I know a lot of people were sick of Rhaegar's and are currently sick of Johanna's, but I didn't feel like this current winter patch was as bombastic.
It wasn't like Hogger. Hogger was
Yeah.
way worse, in my opinion.
New hero, right? Like that was a common occurrence right before the long Christmas meta, and then that new hero would burden the meta along with what would have been here the Rhaegars and the Johannas, meaning something gets through. Right now, I feel like our bans are sufficient to deal with the meta problems.
I share that feeling as well. But let's take a look here. So that was December 7th was the patch before this. Before that was September 27th. What is the pattern here?
I don't know. So early on in 2021, it was about 4 or 5 weeks. And then that slowly increased to 6. And we stayed at that basically through the entire fall. Now it could be 2 months, but I still am kind of in the 5 weeks zone once that ball gets rolling. I mean, you got to remember too, in 2021, there were a lot of hiccups that would disturb any office place environment and certainly productivity.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Outside of, merging teams changing, the scandals going on at Blizzard, acquisition, all of which are often found out about by outside sources because the company's not communicating effectively with its own workers. Yeah, I might not get that patch done in time.
I didn't talk to anyone I know from Blizzard about the acquisition news that wasn't learning of it along with the rest of us.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like, I'm going to need a minute. This is a hell of a morning. It was wild for sure. So yeah, okay. So you're setting your sights on 5. I could see 6. I don't know. There's really hasn't been much in the way of a pattern. I'm feeling like it is officially on when we have time. I think that's the new patch cadence is when the team that's not the Classics team, but basically is because they work on all of what used to be considered the Classics games. It's when they have time to balance Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I don't know that structure ultimately. And that's going to greatly affect my, perception of this.
Well, remember we had the mini panic when the news broke that like they were sunsetting the Classics team, but it wasn't, they were letting everyone go. They were just like dissolving that name as an official moniker essentially.
Right.
Because as far as we knew, like everyone we knew that was a forward-facing dev stuck around. Now we've lost a few of them to other Blizzard projects, but they're still there. They're still working, and we know that they still split their time between things like Heroes of the Storm and Warcraft 3 Reforged and other titles as well.
And a lot of that is the bug fixes that are the systems designers, the programmers that are being shared to make sure those patches and updates get in through the proper channels. When it comes to your head being in Heroes all the time, do we have those sort of designers? I don't know. And I also know that this new survival game is made up of basically the Classics team, as best I can see it on Twitter. It's a lot of people from that environment.
Sure looks like it.
And if they make a fluid team like that, can you imagine? That'd be the best place to work. Oh my God. The Call of Duty teams. Do you make anything else? No. Focus on Call of Duty. even you want to be part of World of Warcraft, you want to be part of Hearthstone. You're gonna live and breathe that. But can you imagine the creativity of that zone, whatever that wing of the office is digitally at the moment, of just, hey, we're working on the survival team. That was a really cool idea of that critting weird arrow thing you made on the survival game. Let's try that out in Heroes. Let's go put that on one of our bow characters, and just getting to experience all these other worlds. More worldly gamers. We're seeing this in our Final Fantasy 14 coverage right now. It's a game that doesn't require you to log in every single day. The dailies and systems aren't as intense. So people play Dark Souls. They play all these other games constantly, all these other fantasy RPGs, and they bring those opinions back. Whereas I feel like, and this is purely anecdotal, but when I talk to a lot of WoW gamers, they talk about WoW in the view of what patches have come in the past and what WoW has done in the past, but not necessarily what other games they've played, and they can bring those thoughts in, because I think World of Warcraft just dominates your time. So the idea of a team that's balancing Blizzard games like Heroes of the Storm, making other products, awesome.
Yeah, me stoked, man.
It's exciting stuff.
New
man.
stuff is exciting. New stuff is
Yeah.
exciting, and this is something that also is like, I think we'll see sooner than we might think, because it's like this was already in motion before the acquisition was announced, right? Because like when I think about the Microsoft takeover, it's like I'm really excited to see like how, like what Blizzard games look like after the acquisition, but it's going to be a really long time before we see a game come out of Blizzard that is entirely post acquisition, like conceived after Microsoft has taken ownership and released.
And Mike Ybarra was tweeting that he's played it and it's fun. Now, if you've been
I
in
heard some
video game
rumblings too
spheres,
that there's like a lot more art and it's been around for a while, and
Yeah.
so we've only literally seen 2 images. So because there was some stuff being batted around that it was like, oh, it looks like it's like they don't really know what it is yet, but like I saw an anecdote somewhere saying like no, there's like tons of concepts laying around for this game already. So yeah, it's cool stuff. I'm feeling really optimistic for the Blizzard brand of games moving forward after years of the opposite, of not feeling particularly great about it all. So it's cool stuff.
In general, yeah.
Let's talk about the patch. Getting into tanks here. They messed with our good buddy Diablo, who I used to think of as the Kyle hero, but I haven't felt that way in a long time.
Oh, it's too personal. Yeah. That's the main deck you don't want to ever lose with in Magic the Gathering. It's something I don't bring out unless it's kind of 5-stack, and even then I'm kind of like, can my heart take this tonight?
Couldn't take that Diablo we had at lunch.
Oh, that was rough.
Whatever. Anyways, hey, this is apparently effective because people who have never played Diablo before are now playing him.
It's something. So what happened was they went in and added upon level 10 update, much like the likes of Muradin and other heroes that have received these automatic upgrades. Maya's the other one I can think of at the moment that gets 2 charges of Volt at level 20.
I like these. I like these a lot.
Yeah.
And this one's interesting. Upon reaching 10, souls consumed when resurrecting are decreased from 100 to 75.
Right. So you must have 100 souls to resurrect. That is just the cost. But at level 10, you'll be left with 25 on the other side. So get you back in that game quicker. This, I feel like, is a really, really healthy update, and it does show a lot of awareness to what Diablos are doing to combat this. In the late game right now, because of catapults, because of map control, particularly when you're being squeezed by the enemy team in a tournament environment, you do not farm on Diablo. You do not go into the lane and say, hey guys, hey, stop fighting, everybody, stop fighting. I gotta go just soak these Spider Queen lanes. No. What you actually do is you take Sacrificial Soul and you go stun people without any reason to. 4 souls. So at level 4, stunning a hero with Shadow Charge grants 10 souls and 20 armor for 3 seconds. A lot of 100 souls increases armor to 40. So it's a cool survivability talent. You're going to do a lot of your engages without a wall hit when you want the kill, because of the apocalypse charge, push them off, pick them up over with overpower combo. That usually doesn't hit a wall. You are making extremely quick picks. Just gotta soapbox that for a moment. This is how you should be playing, everybody. This is huge. Like, A lot of what you do on Diablo these days is basically think of him like Illidan body blocks. You go in, you charge, hit no wall, you pick them up over, now you have a body block, and you expect your team to catch up to that. There's a lot of Storm League games where there's someone walking around out there that a body block could kill. Anyway, this is not for the armor. This is merely so you can get 10 souls every time you stun, and you watch rotations. You get to the 100 souls very quickly in the early game because everyone's kind of playing around the middle. Later on, this doesn't really work out. By the way, in home games, the life leech build, the auto attacks give souls, is still number one. So that's why you're not seeing any real update on those. They're fine with that. Not seen in tournament play, too much counter.
What about these level 13s?
So we got Devastate Charge with a little bit of an upgrade, which is nice. So this is for our at-home game.
That's a really popular like second place. Because at 13, most Diablos go cruelty, but from what we can see on a site like Hotslogs, Devastating Charge is almost neck and neck with cruelty in terms of pick rate. It's pretty close, but it was down in win rate.
And that full cruelty build doesn't need help. It's still doing fine. It may not be the winniest one, but certainly very popular. So this other update to his Hellfire, which is essentially his Burning Rage effect that gives it 3 more damage. That's fine too. I don't think we'll see a Burning Rage Diablo until that really has some healing on it, like Murden's does. But
I love Burning Rage talents. I think they're so underrated. Like they're not flashy,
cool.
They're not sexy, but I love how it incentivizes like getting better at stutter stepping and staying with your target because you're just getting more value as you're doing so. And a lot of times they're sleeper talents. Like most heroes that have these, you go and you look at the pick rate is almost among the lowest on the talent level it's on, and the win rate is always higher than you might think.
Yeah, they're solid. They're solid talents. Diablo's got this entire Souls to the Flame kind of stompy build, which is currently not good. I've heard from Cavalier Guest. So Soul Shield doesn't last long enough compared to the uptime that you get on Devil's Due. And Feast on Fear feels great at level 1, but stunning an enemy here with Shadow Charge or Overpower heals Diablo. And since we're not really concerned about stuns unless you're farming souls, once you got all your souls, you stop stunning. Feast on Fear is bad. And Devil's Due allows you to go make a bad charge, get a globe, recover fully, and then go make another bad charge again.
I get excited with any sort of baseline buff. And that's what's going on here with Black Soulstone. The 13s, time will tell. Looks like Devastating Charge is seeing a bit of an increase in its win rate as a result of this buff. Hellfire as well. But the pick rates haven't changed too much. So to me, it seems like it's working as intended from the stats that I can look at.
Yeah.
Speaking of baseline buffs, ETC. Health going up ever so slightly. My goodness, 2250 to 2280. Don't spend it all in one place, Cowman.
He also gets a power slide damage buff from 91 to 105.
Good. ETC, I think, can handle it.
I think he'll be okay. ETC is still just a paper mache bull. It's tough. There's so much counterplay to Mosh. There's so much awareness to it in any level of tournament play that it almost makes me want to just see that ability go away. To
Mosh?
me, it feels like a vanilla ability, but it's great in Storm League.
Let's make it a base ability, and it can only affect one hero.
It's almost.
Let's go crazy. I'm just getting weird in there.
Yeah, it's like when you play a really old game and it's like, you have unlocked this button to guarantee your next ability crits. Whoa! And you're like, whoa! 1998? Oh my goodness! What an ability! What a crit chance!
I can't wait to write this into a macro so I get maximum value out of it and never think about it again.
Right. It's kind of one of those. It's not. It's not. It's amazing ability, but it just doesn't have. It's got too much counterplay. It's really interesting. You got insane things, of course, that have been around for a very long time now, like Void Prison with.
Wait, hold up. If Rhaegar's totem is just a better Arthas, is ETC's mosh pit just a worse Junkrat trap?
That's interesting. I think we need the AoE-ness of it. So, hey mom, can we have Stukov silence? We have Stukov silence at home and it's ETC. That might be the equivalent.
I realize that you can still attack when you're in the Junkrat trap, but there is no counterplay to a Junkrat trap, and there's all the counterplay to a mosh pit.
Yeah, Junkrat counters happen in the draft with Deathwing, Lucio, and you're not really going to put your Johanna in there. It's too
listen, man,
so.
that doesn't count in normal games.
Maybe a bit of a side conversation, but ETC to me is currently a global offlane hero, and Johanna has taken on the offlane tank role and pushed ETC's stock way too far down. So this damage buff is very interesting, and I think the health is needed. There might be more to do here.
That's an interesting way to paint it, because I still find Johanna's base kit so maddeningly unsatisfying and unimpactful. It's outside of blind, love blind, shield glare, super fun ability. Everything else, it's just WQ and hope. Like, you're just praying something interesting happens. Whereas ETC has this really impactful base kit where you can make impactful strategic decisions. You can put yourself where you want to be. You can really empower a body block because you can create body blocks out of nowhere with ETC. And I love that. It is like, to me, it is the opposite of everything I don't like about Johanna's base kit. And yet, Johanna brings like the survivability and the health and just like the traditional tankiness, and ETC brings a high death count.
Yeah. ETC has an extremely powerful pushback with his face melt, which counters so many abilities. It is an insanely boring, insanely effective tool. What I think is interesting about tanking right now is that we've definitely entered a let's trade tank sphere again. Your Muradin jumps my hammer, my Johanna jumps your Sylvanas, and let's see who does better. And honestly, right now, Johanna kind of is right up there with Muradin. Like, you will have a Johanna in your face. You're like, stop it. 2017, stop, Johanna. And then you go, wait a minute, it's 2022. Johanna, what are you doing? Please, and you're dead. It actually hurts. And it slowly builds up. These blessed hammers, this Johanna in your face, these blinds, they all do more damage than you think. And it can catch you off guard.
That's
I
fair.
personally like tanking in a I'm going to defend you kind of way. There is an engage tank, and we've had those in the past where tanks do nothing but sit in bushes. Now we're entering a world where tanks sit in bushes because they're hunting, not because they're watching, which is way more healthy. But once that engagement happens, so often tanks trade sides and you see which side can do it. In fact, in my opinion, the only tank who actually tanks right now is a Nubarak. Because mentally, the enemy team goes, we can kill this. Yeah, let's kill that. And then he disengages and they messed up.
What
and he
a
actually
world.
Tanked.
What a world that where a Nubarak is the only one fulfilling a traditional tanking role.
Because he stuns the enemy team, has a get out of dodge card that also stuns that Muradin that's on your hammer. Like, there's this exchange, and he soaks so much damage with those shields. Everyone thinks they can kill a Nubarak, and they try. Whereas Johanna says, and Muradin, you're like, I'm not going to try to kill this. I'm going to keep working on this backline that my team dove, and you die instead. It's these social. There's some talent changes in here we're going to get to too that are just like, can these impact the social aspect, the meta thoughts rather than actual balance?
I don't think anything you've said in the last 6 months has blown my mind more than Anubarak is the only real tank right now. And that's not a dig. That's just, I think that's a really fascinating statement. And I don't think you're wrong. That's cool.
We need... It does make me want to not tank, which currently is fine, and I've sort of new expansioned with my NGS team here, made sure I don't have to do that, which I really appreciate Crushinator for jumping on that role for me. Big thanks to Crushinator for taking that on, because it's tough.
It took me a minute to realize that Crush was on your team. I was like really enjoying his Twitter posts about NGS, and I'm like, wait a minute, baby on board.
Yeah.
What? When did this happen? I was so stoked. It's really fun following your escapades through Crush's tweets.
No, it's great, and the dude has such a... I love his cast. I gotta shout out Crushinator. You gotta check out his cast. They're informative. They're chill. It's a great energy.
Crush is good people. If you like our brand of Heroes coverage, you'll really like Crushinator. Go support the dude.
I wanna find real quick here just a list of tanks, because I feel like I'm doing somebody a disservice, because all I'm thinking of is engaged tanks and stitches.
Yeah, I've been using the official site. I forget that this is a thing I can do. The official site's great for this.
Tyrio kind of has that like play with the enemy side feel, where you're gonna goof around. Garrosh actually puts somebody back towards the hammer in that case, so maybe Garrosh and Uberak are the two really doing the real tank job, and in that way, ETC, Arthas, Mal'Ganis, if he was buff, would just do the same thing. He'd just Valor on the back line, so he won't do it. But ETC and Arthas, prime to become defensive tanks #1 for those people who want to play an MMO in their MOBA. And it's how I prefer to. I think it's really enriching. I love the social aspect of playing tank in a meta where I'm like, who's my best damage? Oh, it's Orphea. Orphea is good. Sylvanas is bad. Oh, Sylvanas, you don't get any peels, but Orphea, I'm here for you. And like, let's see how I can change and adapt and keep people in range of you during this game.
I was looking at my win rates this past week. It's been a while since I went on Hot Slugs and like looked at my profile. I have like a 63% win rate with Orphea. I should probably play more Orphea.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Remember, I was on that stint of Orphea play for a hot second there, and I guess it went better than I thought it did.
Orphea is like walking a chihuahua, and the owner is Anduin, in my opinion. Like I'm pretty proud of my Anduin right now, so let's take that out.
What are you doing? I'm sorry. If you walk a dog like Anduin would walk any dog, I worry for the safety of that dog's neck.
I'm gonna take you for walkies. It's really fun. I do this with Mockery.
You're gonna have to use a harness if it's Anduin walking the dog.
And that's what you do. Like Orphea, you're getting resets based on hitting, and you always want to be moving forward. So you hit your waltz, you go forward with it, hit your waltz, you go for it, and you just keep getting yourself into more trouble. Just keep barking at dogs bigger than you. And Anduin's there to be like, all right, no. And that's when you pick him up at the the grocery store. You're like, I'm sorry. Orphea's just a little moody today, and you walk on home. It's perfect. It's the perfect combo.
As an owner of 3 Chihuahuas, that's accurate. That's accurate. Remind me at some point to tell you the story of the time our oldest Chihuahua tried to fight my parents' German Shepherd.
I believe it. I believe it.
He's 5 pounds soaking wet, by the way. He's the smallest animal we have. The 2 girl Chihuahuas are more than twice his size. Oh, yeah, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, are you, Bailey? He's sleeping. He can't even hear me. Let's get into the bruisers, Kyle, and talk about what I'm most excited about with this patch, which is Malthael. You would think reading the following, Reaper's Mark, damage per second increase from 1.75% to 2% max health, wouldn't get you that excited, but damn, I just love base buffs, and I love it when it's not just health. You know, health on the tank, okay, I get it, but Reaper's Mark is what makes Malthael go. And he just got a little more go.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of him. He is he's someone you got to put a lot of practice into. He's a very tradey hero. You need to have played enough. Yeah, and you got to play enough, quick match, Storm League, whatever it is. He's a great quick match hero in that way, because all you got to do, like Zeratul, is just learn who you can 1v1 and what you can go in on.
win rates on Malthael are really interesting to look at because I hadn't looked at him in a long time. But his win rate in quick matches is significantly worse than Storm League. He's in the 40s in quick match, and he's crested healthy. I think he's sitting at like a healthy 52 and change % in Storm League. However, it is also worth pointing out that he's up in both as a result of this change, going to hot slots and filtering by the latest patch. He's moving up in both leagues. So this does appear to have been a successful buff, which makes me really happy. I really like Malthael. He's a weird one. And a lot of my incessant Illidan play recently has kept me in a Malthael state of mind, because you want to talk about heroes where you need to know when it is safe to commit. It's Illidan and Malthael, in my opinion. Butcher's probably in there too, but he plays very differently.
Yeah, and Butcher, one of the tough things about Butcher is it's just, what league are we talking, right?
Fair.
And that's no shade thrown, no pun for our Malthael here. It's just kind of the way it goes. I'm going through old
Are you saying
talents
this is
here.
the way?
Yeah. I'm going through old talents here looking for Shroud of Wisdom, which got a change this week. This is the level 13 talent. Its cooldown was reduced from 30 to 20 seconds, and this is where you gain 50 spell armor after 2 seconds for 4 seconds. It has never been adjusted since release.
Yeah, and it's also like barely been picked.
And why would it compare to an unstoppable? This is
a weird one. So if you're playing with filters and you're looking at its pick rate, its win rate, that kind of stuff, if you have like the last 2 patches hit, it was still the lowest picked talent, but it had the highest win rate at level 13. Meaning that it was being picked when it should be, which you would imagine is when you're most worried about spell damage killing you. But now, if you filter by just this patch, it's still the least picked, and it has the lowest win rate. Which
probably
means
because people are trying it out, right?
I think people are trying it out, and they're trying it out in the wrong circumstances, where you're not worried about the Li Ming or the Chromie killing you. Like you're dying to auto attackers. This is a flex level. 13 is a flex level. You should be taking this when you need it, not just like, this is not a auto pick level in my opinion. And if you are going to auto pick, by the way, it's inevitable end.
Right. You got Siphon Soul there that increases your bonus healing, which if you're doing a full spammy go in build and that's just been your job this game, works. That's driving easy. Really casual.
That's fair. Yeah, if you're new to Malthael, which I would imagine after this change, there's probably a lot of new Malthaels out there. I take that back. Go Soul Siphon. You'll just have an easier time.
Yeah. You should, anything you can do to your brain to make yourself hold down the Q harder is what you should be doing. And Inevitable End is incredible. The downside of it, remove all active Reaper's marks. Who cares? You're living. You're unstoppable for 2 full seconds.
It is there. Yeah, exactly. You don't care that you're getting rid of those because the entire reason you're hitting this button is to not die. So if you not died, congratulations.
So Shroud of Wisdom, I gotta look at this and say, why does it have this downside of after 2 seconds? The 4-second duration, that's beefy. Can you make it 2? Just take the 2, minus the 2, give me 2 seconds of 50 spell armor. That doesn't seem insane next to Unstoppable. And you've got your Ethereal Essence here. Gain 10 physical armor per enemy hero afflicted by Reaper's Mark, up to a maximum of 30. Now let me double check. I'm pretty sure there was a time where this was nuts. This actually was doing the business. Yeah, so this used to be a maximum of 40. This was back in 2018. And 2017 it was 50. So yeah, it was kind of a big deal. Armor reduced. What? Did it actually reduce armor on release?
It reduced armor?
Oh, so they're reducing the amount of armor you got per hero hit, and it used to stack. So it used to be 15 per hero, and then stacked to 50. In that time period, we would do Tormented Souls, just walk in as Malthael, and then just hold buttons down. And this particular build was insane, which is why they kind of cut it off, and we all kind of ended up last rights.
Old Tormented Souls, Malthael, yeah.
Right. So Ethereal Essence is kind of like a stinker. It's a classic, hasn't really been updated, but Shroud of Wisdom is just what came in the packaging. And I don't see why we can't upgrade this. Like 50 spell armor for 2 seconds. You'd catch the Pyroblast you meant to, and Kael'thas would learn his lesson, right? We just you move on.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I just basically never take it because 9 times out of 10, there's something I want to unstoppable out of.
Right.
So I've never scrutinized it too much, but yeah, that's I wasn't even thinking about the delay on it. It's Malthael's so exposed all the time that I think that would really help a Malthael stand their ground. Like, think of really any mage, like especially like when we're talking. I just mentioned how low his win rate is in quick match. You're gonna see Kael'thas's, Li Ming's, Chromies, all of these mages that are doing these short delay skill shots that are gonna mess you up if they hit. It'd be very nice if you could counter that with skill and timing, as opposed to, well, I hope in 2 seconds something bad happens to me.
It'd be very different with like a Blink character, because then you could sit in your bush, you go, I'm going to be exactly where I want to be. 1, 2, go! And the mages go, oh, Malthael, and they try to kill you, and you don't die, and it's incredible.
It's a Mephisto spell armor. That's how spell armor should work on Mephisto, not Malthael.
Exactly. Instead, you go, and in 2 seconds, I'd like to engage. Would anyone like to engage with me? And they're going, no, sorry, Malthael, you missed your shroud. I'm not engaging with you. So it's time for that to just like get cleaned up. It'll be fine. It can look OP, but it's not. I think that's a prime candidate.
I like that. That's a good catch there, Kyle. It's not a talent I scrutinize by any means. All right, I'm throwing to you because it's Urel time. Divine Purpose. Oh.
I'm in Vacuum Town if you want to take a moment.
You're in Vacuum Town. All right, let me pause the audio recording. And just give me a warning and we'll start again. No worries. How you doing, chat? We're on break while Kyle fights a vacuum noise. Joss, what's up? We'll talk to you tonight. Gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, Joss, good to see you. How are you enjoying the Final Fantasies?
Oh, that's right. You're playing. Oh, that's not gonna help. I'm guessing on a WoW show tonight with Joss, and I'm gonna try not to talk about Final Fantasy too much. Speaking of which, do we have a topic for the instance this week? Because that's an idea. No, we don't. So we're talking FF14 because Joss is playing, right?
Badass. I'd love to listen to that. All right, I'm just riding the mute here. I think we're almost done.
Haven't actually played yet. I'm taking my first steps on Friday. Oh, damn. Okay. Never mind. You can clear up the bomb I just threw in the instance chat for me, Joss. Thanks.
You could still do why I'm thinking about playing, or why I'll be playing later today.
You could. I would definitely like to talk to you after you played it though, and kind of get your impressions of how it handles things. So never mind. Maybe we put the kibosh on that. There were other game shit this week, right? What else happened in games this week?
Oh, Lost Ark. Lost Ark is the huge one.
Oh, is Lost Ark out? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much buzz. I'm assuming it's actually not all that great.
It's dominating Steam at the moment and overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, but New World dominated Steam as well.
That's true. Wasn't overwhelmingly positive, but yeah. New World did dominate Steam.
It is doing massive numbers, huh? Okay. Yeah, I feel like I usually hear more about games when people are excited, and I haven't heard anyone say jack about this.
I don't know if it's shameful or, is it something like a guilty pleasure people are having? Because a lot of these like Black Deserts and stuff like that, people tend to be very quiet about.
It looks cool. I think it looks cool. Yeah, it's Korean, right? It looks Korean.
Right. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, people have been criticizing the female armors and the run animations.
Oh, that was the only thing I saw was someone making fun of how dainty the female characters run.
Yeah.
That was the
but other than
only
that-
thing that broke through that I saw that reminded me it was out. I was like, yeah, that is a dumb run cycle. See, if it was fun, you know how Final Fantasy 14 would treat that, Kyle? That would be something you could unlock, and it wouldn't be gender specific. You could also do it on a dude.
That's true. That's
then-
true. All right.
yeah.
I think I'm set. We
All
can
right, cool.
continue.
I'm gonna turn.
Thank you
Where
for
did we leave off? I was thrown to I'll just toss to URL. Here we go. I'm gonna start recording back up. All right, so we're going back to Kyle Land here for a second, because Urel got some changes. Divine Purpose, they added additional functionality where the cooldown of it is reset when Urel casts a heroic ability. Is this going to get you back on Urel, Kyle? Another hero, much like Diablo, where I see a Urel and I go, oh, Kyle. And then I think about it for more than 2 seconds and I go, no, not really. It's been years. Years since I saw Kyle on this hero.
Yeah, it's a really fun offlaner. Hogger's dominance on camps and whatnot really took the majority of my last NGN season as Bruiser. Urel can't do camps in that way, so you have to draft other things to make up for it. So you usually say, okay, well, let's make our offlaner also able to do camps. Let's not get a Urel today. I've got like I've got kind of a hot take on this that I don't think is like a good one. I don't think the statement I'm about to make is good or healthy. But
Kyle, be real with me for a minute.
I see this and I say, wait, at this stage of the game, you want to introduce something that takes this much practice? I'm not going to play Urel. Like this can be really powerful. You can charge up your leap, jump in, hit, go into a divine purpose swing, knock everybody back for the reduced damage, for the reduced armor and the huge giant killer with Templar's Verdict. Then pop your heroic, whichever one it may be, whether healing or putting out armor. Have another divine purpose to do instant full power jump or an instant big heal. There's a lot of playmaking potential in there, but the finger gymnastics of pulling it out is going to take so much practice in a sphere where Urel gets drafted so infrequently that only if you are maintaining current great Urel skills can you take advantage of this.
That's fair. My thought as a non-Urel player, but as somebody who ends up against Urels or alongside Urels from time to time, is that I think this is only good with one of the two heroics.
That's an interesting thought. Which one?
Ardent Defender, because it follows you, it stays with Urel. Anything you're doing to take advantage of that you just talked about, you are either pushing people away or you are jumping away. Either way, you're stepping out of sacred ground afterwards, right? So you're either pushing someone away and then you're going to walk up and start smacking them again. You're probably not going to be in sacred ground anymore. Or you're jumping out of the sacred ground that you just created.
Well, that's the difficulty. I feel like this is actually more of a buff to Sacred Ground because Sacred Ground is the only one you would pop at full health in that equation of finger gymnastics I just talked about. Because you would go in, do your thing, then want the instant cooldown on your Divine Purpose while still very healthy because you just engaged. Whereas Ardent Defender is more like oh my goodness, I'm in trouble, but I want to stick around. And now I have Divine Purpose. So in this emergency button kind of situation, I use it to run away at max range with my leap, which isn't really what I'd want to do in that situation yet. Or I'd probably want to cast spells while I'm invincible healing with Ardent Defender and then go out later, which means Divine Purpose is currently on cooldown anyway.
See, I was thinking if you're using the additional Divine Purpose to stay aggressive, that you're staying in the fight so long and you could potentially yeet yourself even deeper into the fight that you're going to need the barrier to survive because you're going to be so annoying that they're going to target you.
Right, and that's just pure skill. Like Liam is a god on bruisers, the best off laner that I've certainly ever gotten an interview. Just an amazing player. Next season, we'll get to see some awesome stuff on Urel with this. Great. The team will adapt. They will rotate to take out the camps. And I'm really excited to see what sort of switcheroos and madness can be pulled off there.
So your positive thought is this is a exciting competitive change.
Right. And Uriel might benefit a lot from this power boost, and we'll get to see some really, really cool Uriel business. But this is just too big a meal to cook.
Well, I've been reaping the benefits of a lot of your Malfurion play, and they just like went through and turned up the power on all of his 16s.
Yeah.
How's this landing for you? As a Malthael who would be out of mana if I wasn't playing with you, I'm just glad you're playing Malfurion, but it doesn't seem like it's the result of level 16s to me.
No, I could see from the outside. You see all the level 16s touched, and that'd be the exciting part. And it is nice, those are nice little upgrades. Particularly the Nature's Balance, which was already really good, is now covering an additional regrowth now that its duration was increased from 3 to 5. So it's even easier to sort of holy priest, divine priest manage all your business. All I hear every time I say, "Hey, I want to play Malfurion in our NGS games," Cavalier Guest is like, "No, you don't. Nobody likes Malfurion," and it just makes me feel more special. So actually, it's a great thing, and I'm really looking forward to playing him more. I just really enjoy the character. Not a lot of people do, and certainly when you get into tournament play, there are extremely few players who want to play Malfurion in a tournament mode where you have so many counters and the drafting can be so difficult for him.
How long have you played with Cavalier Guest, and he doesn't know that it's essentially pouring gasoline on your "I want to play it" fire?
It's true. It's true. I'm not sure we've had that conversation because I just pick what he tells me to do. So I follow instructions at the end of the day.
Okay, gotcha.
Remember, I did that solid year of Hogger that I kind of complained about. So it doesn't stop me. Anyway, the selling point, if I was to to wave tickets at you outside, if I was to scout Malfurion at you and say, hey, whoa, 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 I got great seats here. Vengeful Roots. So Vengeful Roots Trident, this is the one that summons the Trident, had the Trident movement speed increased by 60% and the health increased from 411 to 450. This is one of the highest win rate talents on Malfurion, not the sleeper business because you're not comboing in Storm League. This one is farmable, and an expert can get 50 stacks in a game. So every time you root somebody, you get a stack. So you're just putting this out on repeat, getting stacks, getting stacks. At 50 stacks, this tree hits as hard as a gray main. And now it has sticking power with 60% increased movement speed.
It's just booking it.
It's booking it. It's slapping you for big damage. Some Storm League players even use it to farm objectives, like to get in there and kind of cause trouble. It's not bad. And this actually has become a competitor for the sleepy business, the Emerald Dream. And I think that's really great.
As of the most recent patch, now Malfurion not the most popular hero in the world, so don't have a ton of games to look at on Hotslogs. But Vengeful Roots has a 56% win rate. What do you think the win rate for Emerald Dream is without looking, Kyle? It's a lot lower. I'll give you a hint. It's a lot lower.
42.
Damn, 41.7.
All right.
Nailed it. It's actually the lowest win rate talent. Deep Roots is doing better, which also got a little bit of love.
It's at this point without a slow. Actually, it's kind of that faster car, more gas efficient sort of equation. But you have your water elemental, which slows but doesn't do a lot of damage, but can still be like, can someone please deal with this? Trident is reaching those levels of I need this removed, or I have to do it myself. And depending on what your hero is, that might be too much to ask. You also have really, really cute combo right now in the Age of Johanna with Tenacious Roots at level 7. It's not a great talent, but whenever you get stunned, you get your root cooldown reset. So you can have 2 Tridents going at once, and you're getting more stacks because of it, because any stun causes you to have this 10 seconds off the cooldown, so you stand in the mini stuns, and it's just a lot of fun.
Well, let's get to the the nerf of the day, or the nerf of the month for Rhaegar.
All right.
Health down, his health down. Mana cost up on Chain Heal, making him a little less mana efficient. I don't think they went far enough, in my opinion. After playing Malthael this week so much, man. Jeez. Rhaegar's still getting away with mana murder. Earthbind Totem, the health was reduced from 326 to 260, and they shaved 2 full seconds off its duration. So you can
He's
kill
fine.
it way faster. And if you don't bother, it disappears 2 whole seconds earlier. And you're right, he is fine. He's doing
Yeah, the crazy thing is he's fine.
He's doing just fine. Yeah, I think I would argue he's in a balanced state now. I think he's still a solid pick.
They switcherooed 2 talents, Colossal Totem and Grounding Totem. So now you get the reposition and the bonus health duration and area at level 1. And you have to wait till level 7 to have the spell power reduction and the attack speed slow, which feels fine. Both are really good too. In fact, I really do prefer Colossal Totem at 1 because that repositioning the totem thing coming online at 7 when you're in the thick of the game still meant I just wasn't ready for it. I would often forget to cast it. I wouldn't update this correctly. And now being just base kit, as it were, because the talent build you're still going, I like it a lot.
I think it's good. I'm happy where Rhaegar has landed, and I like Rhaegar a lot. I like what he brings to the game, so I'd like to still see him involved. And I also, honestly, like looking at him now, I'd like to see him kind of become a baseline that other healers are judged on. So like, I'd love to see a lot of healer tweakage and buffage coming over the course of the year to bring them up, because Rhaegar is exciting and he feels active and he's a part of the equation. Ended up on Deckard on a ARAM in the last patron game night we had, and oh my god, it's so boring.
Yeah,
he's so boring to play.
It's mainly because his abilities are very combo dependent, like his Scroll of Sealing and his Herodric Cube have to be used together so often. And then on top of that, you're going to combo his Stay a While and Listen. So you've got a heroic and 2 base abilities and a heal that's not terribly exciting. It's exciting on paper, like the whole idea of setting up the potions is really, really fun. But I often find myself out of mana and having spent 3 abilities to do one thing. And that's to put someone to sleep. But Anna does that with 1 ability, and let's not talk about Stukov again. Actually, let's talk about Stukov.
Yeah, let's. I guess it's all talent chicanery.
it's mostly just a low blow damage reduction from 125% to 100%, and Growing Infestation had its maximum channel duration reduced from 4 to 3. It Hungers now has more hits before it procs its refunded mana and cooldown. But if you were getting 6 hits, you were getting 8 hits, really, with this thing. Stukov's fine. Moving on. You know, all we can really say is make him bad, make him worse. And that's not fun, but there's a very big puzzle, as we talked about at the start of the show.
Yep. Yeah, it all comes back to silence is binary. It's on or it's off, and it's not a knob that you can turn to make a little bit better or a little bit worse. It is silence. And as long as Stukov has it, he's going to be a really difficult hero to balance. Mama, I'm just laughing. Maybe nerf his second D, which just makes me giggle. But also, man, not a terrible suggestion.
Asmodeum. This is a really fascinating psychological experiment. So what they've done is they've taken demonic invasion and increased its impact damage, reduced the grunt explosion damage, grunt movement speed up by 50%, and now grunt explosion damage is doubled against heroes. So demonic invasion was already a really good team fight ability. It's just that sneaking a keep felt really good, and Asmodeans really liked it. So now taking a keep is going to feel slightly worse.
It's going to be harder to pull off, right? That's what I read from this, is they're trying to make demonic invasion more of a team fight ability and less a securing keep abilities.
Right, but
keeps ability.
Yeah, so basically what they're trying to create is an environment where psychologically you see demonic invasion and you go, wow, that looks really, really fun in a team fight. But it still does the building thing too. So for anybody who doesn't read the patch notes, they have to almost accidentally, in an emergency, because the team was yelling, I'm joining a team fight, Asmodeum, gosh, the whole game, use this ability on top of an enemy team and maybe go, Oh, that did more than I thought. I might actually use this. I might join a future team fight.
But it's not doing as much structure damage, right? Because they
It's not.
more than halved the explosion damage, and if you want that back, you need to use it against heroes because the damage is doubled.
Right. So you have to then do that, say that didn't feel great. But my kind of reservation here is I think when Asmodeum noticed he doesn't do as much keep damage, he doesn't sneak it, people just stop playing Asmodeum. They go, well, that's why I'm here.
It's the Zagara effect.
A little bit, yeah. A little, there's always these kind of heroes that because they're broken in one way, that's why people want to play them. And the second they're not broken, I'm
Yeah.
not having fun anymore. What's the cooldown on demonic invasion?
I don't know offhand. Let me see if I can find it before you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some sleuthing here.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Because off the top of my head, it feels massive.
Yeah, I don't know. Boy,
The shame here, invasion. I used demonic to search, and that wasn't a good idea.
I miss having a specialist as a filter option on the official site. I can't find Asmodeum. There we go. This is great.
90 seconds. 90 seconds.
I'm so glad because it doesn't say on the official site.
Yeah, we're going off of 2018 Heroes of the Storm patch notes here, but that seems to be the best I can come up with. That's still a really long time. So we'll see. I would love to see Tide of Sin, which is activate to make the next global annihilation cost no mana. This is spammable. This is something we see very often in team fights. I'd love to see demonic invasion toned down but frequent. More demons for Asmodeum. You try it every 30 seconds. This for a building, this for a team fight, but it's really kind of tiny.
Asmodeum's always been a weird one for me. I did try him after this because his win rate's still in a good place. And I was like, there's a solo laner I haven't spent a lot of time on, and just it doesn't click with me. He's awkward.
Genji.
Speaking of awkward.
A little bit.
Oh, by the dev's own comments saying Genji is a scary hero to buff, so we're proceeding with caution as we add spice to his talents.
Yeah, so the spice is stealth and the first CC to come to a Genji. And that might sound really scary. It's not, though.
I played against a lot of Genjis in the last week, and it doesn't feel any different.
No, ultimately, the way you play the hero is not affected. So Pathfinder now, when you jump over terrain, your movement speed is increased and you get stealth for 4 seconds. If you jump over terrain, though, you're either engaging or running away, both of which stealth aren't really going to have a heavy impact on. And the one trick that everyone got really excited about for a hot moment was, oh, I'm going to jump the fort and then I'll be stealth, but the forts have true sight. So that didn't work out. The other one is the agile dismount, which you have to jump on top of the enemy heroes to get the slow. We talked about this a little last week because we were selling it to our guests. These really haven't had a big impact, and the rest are all talent incentivization. So
yeah, as much as I want Pathfinder to be some sort of engage, I think it is more for newer Genji players to escape with their lives more often.
Yeah, I use it because I can jump in for a deep deflect in ARAM and then get out.
Well, that's cool. That's aggressive.
Yeah, but
that's
still
it.
might help there. Kinda cool. I've heard that sharpened stars is awful, but I don't really have. All I've seen is Genji's basically respond to this by you didn't improve the things that are good, which is sometimes how balance goes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting back to a point where I'm like, just give him the good stuff back, right? Like, he was never that great in the game at home to begin with. Let NGS and CCL sort it out.
It encourages Uther play, which I'm very cool with too.
Ooh, you're right. I miss Uther.
He's doing all right. Again, we're not in actually, when we were talking about tanks earlier, we're not in a meta where you protect the back line very much. You just trade. So Uther tank is out of style as well.
All right, I know you're you're kind of stoked about what's going on with Greymane. How are you feeling about this? There's some weird stuff in here.
Yeah, so Greymane got his first healing talent. This is Insatiable. This is the one you would know from the past. Inner Beast causes basic attacks to restore 10 mana. Not terribly useful.
Yeah, but added functionality, basic attacks during Inner Beast reduce Healing Fountain's cooldown by half second. What? Is this
in a perfect world,
is this the first Healing Fountain talent we've ever had?
Of this style that I can think of, there's the healing talent where Diva can press her button and get a healing talent or healing well at range on reduced cooldown. Tracer has one where I think she just gets healed more, but I don't think this is I don't think this is I don't think there have been any other talents that affect cooldown of a fountain. This is in a perfect scenario, you're looking at about a 40-second cooldown on your well, which is still pretty massive. Like if you were to be in the Infernal Shrines pit from the second you tapped, you could get out of there 40 seconds later with another well. Because this is a level 4 talent, you're not going to have this when you do your first rotation of camps, which means you're not getting that well that you pre-tap for bruisers. So it doesn't really play into that either. So it's not a perfect talent, but it is very attractive. It is a very cool update.
It is interesting. Yeah, folks are mentioning Diva in the chat room. There's something about this that feels really old school to me. Like it could have been a generic talent that was across a bunch of heroes in the tech alpha. And that's not a bad thing. I think I missed some of that.
Other than that, we got Running Wild, which has its increased dark flight disengage range increased, and on top of this now has no increase to that, but this is what the talent did in the first place. Additional functionality: reduce dark flights and disengages cooldown by 1 second. So that has become an interesting pick that many Greymanes are playing around with. What this has created in the background is a pseudo Greymane offlaner. But our offlaners are so powerful right now, it's probably not going to happen.
It's stiff competition for sure, and it has been despite 2021, the year of the nerfed bruisers.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm fearful of it. I don't like Greymane and refuse to learn him.
He can be a lot of fun. It's the choice structure when you have a button that goes in and you don't get to go in is frustrating. That's why I'm a horrible Kerrigan.
Then they also shook up Nova, saying that it's similar to Greymane, that Nova has generally been in a good spot with her talents, with a few exceptions. We're looking to stabilize some of her talents with changes to Perfect Shot and Advanced Cloaking, so they're dependable in a wider range of situations. Perfect Shot, the functionality was changed up so that hitting an enemy reduces Snipe's cooldown by 2 seconds and refunds half of its mana cost, and that is doubled against heroes. It used to be that hitting an enemy hero would reduce its cooldown by 4 seconds and refund its mana cost. So now if you whiff and you hit a merc, a minion, you get something for your trouble.
Yeah, not too bad. Nova is outside of extreme cases where she's used as a bribe tool on the likes of Sky and whatnot. She's mainly used for rotation denial in tournament play, meaning you put the hollow decoy out on their half of the map on Infernal Shrines, mid to bottom lane, and it does its little baby damage, but that's enough to dismount people. And you do that again and again and again, and you do that with rapid projection, which means your hollow decoy has its cost and cooldown reduction increase to 50%, now 60%. So Nova got a buff in the way she's played in tournament play. And she has slightly more lane clear and damage due to the talents you just mentioned, as well as Precision Strike having its cooldown reduced. So Nova could have a place as this off-lane harasser, rotation denying soaker thing.
I wouldn't be against Nova becoming a project for me.
Okay. Well, it's good damage. It's good damage. Get someone to hold it still for you, though. That's the hard part. Is aiming the shot.
Yeah. Yes. Zero
You got
Tool
that.
says sitting in the chat room. Do you have a retort?
Yeah. So exactly. That's kind of the that's a big. I mean, you could even say so Samuro, but then you could just say on top of that, so Zeratul. You know, now what's worse than at home? You know, we say, hey, can I have Zeratul? We have Zeratul, and what's beyond? We have Zeratul at school and it's Nova. Is that the next layer?
Yeah. Samuro is a really good camp taker, and I don't think Nova or Zeratul are.
No, I mean, you got that bribe thing, but yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is
kind of back-to-back heroes here we're going to talk about, where we've talked a lot about identity in the past. And Nova, definitely one we've said, does it feel like a sniper? Is this really kind of the sniping edge we're going for? And Probius now, they've gone in and baked in mineral gathering.
That's cool. It's a popular talent. It's, I believe, the go-to.
So
memory serves.
It's different than it was now, though. So now Warp and Pylon has its cooldown increase, but it has additional functionality. Enemy heroes and minions drop minerals on death. Gathering minerals reduces Warp and Pylon's cooldown by 0.75 seconds. So it's cute. Like, the idea is that you farm minerals to make pylons, and the probe is supposed to go out there and get those. How is the question? You right now you are putting your warp rifts on top of the lane. You're not detonating them with your pulse because they're just going to explode anyway, and it's great, and the lane clears no problem. So the last hit gets most of the XP, luckily, so probe doesn't have to go out there and collect them. Actually going out there and getting your minerals is really, really scary. If you're playing forward and aggressive and collecting your minerals, you get more pylons. If you're playing defensive and back and blowing up your lanes, you don't need more pylons. So that's the weird thing about this, is an aggressive Probius has a higher chance to die, but will benefit from this buff. And the defensive lane clear Probius sees nothing from this and doesn't
need it in the first place, right? Like,
right, and doesn't absorb any of the flavor. They're watching minerals die, in the lane just to phase out.
Would it be because they don't vacuum to you like XP orbs, right?
Not previously. Actually, I haven't tried out Probius in this form yet, but
Well,
I assume they're like butcher meat.
Yeah.
As they were
That's kind of where my head's going. Is like, would it be too powerful if you got them on last hit, or they had a radius leash like XP orbs?
I think there's a world where maybe this could be trial, which would be really interesting. Maybe they're trying out this idea with the pylons, and they're gonna get rid of Probius's mana entirely, because right now he loses all his mana if he's outside of pylon range. He never regenerates any. If you let me last hit for minerals, maybe I could build my pylons with minerals too. And then there's like this mineral mechanic that could, be interesting if my pylons last, or if my cannons last forever, please. Now you get into like your team fighting and you didn't kill anybody, but the team fight goes long. So should Warp Rift hitting heroes drop minerals regardless if it gets a kill? And I can see it just getting
well, I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was just trying to think, like, would it be horribly powerful if the minerals behave the same way as XP?
Yeah, where they float to you. And I'd say that would benefit a lot of Probiuses. And the majority of people who want to poo-poo this update are saying this encourages bad Probius play. I've never really much liked that philosophy, because I say, well, just don't play bad. Like, the game's going to make people play bad. It's like, well, people who care and read are going to be intelligent and make choices.
Can I take you to task on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you, Kyle, the proponent of the years of overquesting. And the whole reason we didn't like that was because it encouraged poor play.
That's a good point. What I'm saying often when I talk about like Murd and stunning for no reason is that sort of like no reason part of it. When something makes you, like, you have to go out into lane to get the minerals, when people say that encourages Probiuses to rack up the deaths because they want their minerals and they shouldn't go get them, that's a choice for the player to make. And I think those choices are fine.
I think that's fair. You should be looking at the minimap and assessing the risk.
Right. But if you are saying, I'm going to sit in this bush and stun you for no reason, that's where I kind of have that. You know?
Listen, man, Nazebos and Gazlos have absolutely no incentive to push blindly and die constantly, and yet it happens anyway.
That's true. They do. So you know, maybe minerals aren't really the cause here.
I don't think I think people that don't understand there's a mini map or don't know how to look in the bottom right is kind of the problem.
Also, a Nullgate got a damage increase, so there's a couple of Probiuses out there. Fractions of a fraction of a fraction now of the player base who are excited.
Fair. And then closing out the patches, Tracer, the dev said that we hope these changes keep Tracer a worthy draft consideration regardless of her healer, but we want fewer situations where Tracer is among the very best choices. And so Pulse Generator had the healing reduced from 25 to 18% of maximum health.
Right. There are other challenges in here, but this is the really big one. So Pulse Generator allows you to use your bomb to sustain yourself and fight. I play alongside Mockery a lot. He loves this hero. He gets amazing things done on it. The hero bores me to tears in its current iteration, mainly because I can't hit a bomb. So when I hit a bomb, I go, ooh, here it comes. I worked really hard for this. And it's like 10% of their health. And it's just the saddest looking thing on the planet. After I worked so hard and had to aim so well to hit that bomb, it does nothing. Now, when you're Mockery and you hit every single bomb and you build up bombs at a rapid pace because you're good, that adds up. And this talent in particular allowed you to go in, stick, lose health because you're getting poked, bomb, 10% damage. Nobody cares. You regenerate 25% of your total health. Stick, get the kill, be done. And so much about this is about that punch that you do and not the bomb anymore. The punch does the damage that builds the bomb that heals you back. And since the bomb isn't healing again, the bomb got a lot worse.
This is another like high level play balance adjustment that's going to have a pretty negative effect on the average player doing quick match in Storm Lake.
Yeah, Tracer is rightfully so entered that Genji space of everything has to be really low damage because pros can make a lot of use out of all this mobility.
Well, anyways, I stand by. I think this is my favorite patch of like the last 4.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'm really enjoying Malthael. I'd like to see a little bit more of this. Let's give some baseline love to some other underperforming heroes.
Yeah, you got a little toy in this patch, which you were definitely missing in these previous goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm on Illidan now. Let's maybe look at him. I think Thrall still needs love. Anyone you're hoping to see in the next one?
Oh man. Let me pull up a little heroes list here because I'm currently in NGS town where I have a very small, very tight hero pool.
I can make you real bummed real quick.
What is that? What's that?
Look at Cassia's win rate.
Oh no, is she not doing well?
She's been below 50% for a long time.
Oh yeah, she's still a beast, but she doesn't 1v1 like she used to. So I've moved so thoroughly off that hero. That was the fun of her was the Surge of Light kind of really getting in people's business.
That's fair. I'd like to see an exciting mage change. Any of them. Except Morphia. Morphia's doing fine. I'd like to see something on Jaina or Li Ming or Kael'thas and just go, holy crap, I can't wait to play them.
I think I said it earlier. I think it's all I want to see these tanks like Arthas. I want to see Arthas become that bulwark that he can be.
I've been wanting a major Arthas overhaul for years, so bring it.
But something to compete with these engaged tanks. something more defensive, a more defensive play style available.
I dig. Well, let's take a question. It's a little longer one this week because of the patch, but let's take one question before we wrap up.
Darkness stopped calling.
Darkness just texted me.
It's not the moment, it's a hero brawler!
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com, or if you're supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/itn, check it out. Just write us right there in the Patreon Discord. You can skip the inbox entirely. And that's exactly what Tile Drawn did this past week and said, question for both of you, but mostly Kyle, since he plays in NGS. I'm playing in my first season of NGS, and I'm the wave clears / mage ranged assassin on my team. Are there any particular heroes that are meta right now that would be good to learn? I don't do much Storm League, so I don't stay super caught up, but I want to make sure I'm giving my team the best chance of success. In Division A and hovering low diamond, high plat in Storm League, if that helps with suggestions. Thanks. Keep up the good work. It seems like mages have been out of vogue in competitive play for quite a while. Is that still true?
Sort of, yes. Is Hanzo a mage is the question.
No. I refuse.
However,
he does spell damage.
Upon hitting an enemy minion or monster, Stormbow deals 60% of its damage to enemies around its target. And later on, you get Piercing Arrow, which allows Stormbow to hit one additional enemy on the other side, so to pierce through. That's lane clear right there. Hanzo is amazing lane clear. And it's all spell damage in that way. And you will burst down the wave, and you've got amazing spells to participate. In fact, Dragon Strike, since they're both named dragons, I'll clarify the one with the big dragons. Those dragons are amazing right now at point control, contesting bosses, getting people out of entombs. Like the enemy team locks you down, you shoot this over the top so they can't stay engaged in the area. So Dragon Strike has really, really moved up over the CCL play and now in the season of NGS. If you want a more traditional mage, Jaina sees a lot of play. There's variance to this, and it takes a lot of skill. So Jaina has amazing lane clear. You're gonna knock it out, be able to join the team fight. Sometimes it's like an Ice Flows build, but I get the feeling from my teammate Porky that that's kind of like a be in their face, disrespect them kind of business. What you're actually doing more often is doing a full Ice Lance build that has that kill potential and that staying power. So you actually participate for the length of the fight that it's going to take. So Jaina is one of our main emergency lane clear pickups. Falstad, because of his global, while he doesn't clear at the same rate, does have the baked in Hammerang or Boomerang now, and can clear slower than Jaina and the like and Hanzo, but will join globally, so he still gets that job done.
Chat room's mentioning it. You haven't mentioned it. Isn't like your favorite? What about Mephisto?
Mephisto, it has its collapse. So the problem with Mephisto always with lane clear is that you don't get any resets because you're not hitting heroes. So if you use your spells to clear lanes, you're stuck on a really long cooldown. If something should break out nearby, you're going to be in trouble. However, Mephistos in tournament play take Spite, the level 4 talent. When you get a regen globe, it has increased healing. You don't really care about that. Each tick activates Lord of Hatred, reducing ability cooldowns by 1 second. So with a friend, Mephisto can clear, have a friend grab the regen globes. Everybody's kind of helping Mephisto in this way. He's lane clearing. He's the lane clear hero, but he's being fed all these globes by others picking them up. And then he has enough cooldowns to still participate should something break out.
How's that much different than Jaina? Because Jaina is going to need the orbs to stay mana efficient. She can't just go up and grab them alone.
Right. So in this way, Jaina would not be a very powerful, and like I said, I don't know all the ins and outs of Jaina. I'm just seeing what we're picking and why in these Cavalier guest drafts. Jaina's really good at clearing the lane that's overpushed very quickly, and then she joins. Mephisto would be clearing a lane in more of a Tomb of the Spider Queen scenario where he can't go get the globe that he's created. So Jaina, better at clearing globes that she creates because she is slow, she has CC, she can get out an ice block. Mephisto, however, stepping up, getting that globe would actually cost you. And you can use your teleport to go get that. So maybe it's not such a big deal, but then you might run out of mana. So probably Mephisto isn't as bad as I'm making him out to be. There's just a very heavy reliance on spite when we see Mephisto played in high level.
I think that's a fair assessment. Jaina's my go-to. I think she's, to me, one of the only like mages that can really carry their own weight outside of really weird compositions that are putting too much. They're having to put too much together to really empower the mage, like something like Li Ming. Like, yeah, if you got a bunch of people that can hold shit still and has the potential to get the damage in the range where Li Ming Burst will actually get a kill and you can take advantage of the resets, that's cool. But I feel like you're putting such a burden on your team to flex on behalf of Li Ming.
Yeah. So, and something that our writer here can deduce on top of this, now that there's been 2 weeks of regular play and they've maybe gotten some games in, is are you still having trouble lane clearing? Because in that case, it might actually be the bruiser on your team that needs to step up a bit. Maybe they need to pick more Leorix or even run Johanna in the off lane. If you have low clear in your off lane, like an extreme that people argue against because you can eventually talent out of it. It's a great example. Let's use it. Imperius. Very, very slow lane clear early on in the game. If he's not able to clear, he can't rotate. And you might, as Falstad, have to take up that mantle so Imperius can actually participate in a team fight where he's better. Your lane clear might not be as big of an issue. Maybe you love playing Chromie and you love playing Vala and that sort of thing. If the bruiser on your team can get more lane clear on their side, you can still play those sorts of heroes.
It's a good breakdown. My suggestion still just Jaina. I agree with the Jaina assessment. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good emergency. It's going to cover a lot of bases.
Yeah. But it mentioned wave clear here, so probably wants it. Anyways, keep the emails coming, itncast@gmail.com. Write us in the patron-only Discord. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Into the Nexus. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, everybody. We are, of course, supported by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/ITN. We're an older show, but we are here solely because you're still here listening and you're still here supporting. So if you want to support Kyle and myself, check out patreon.com/ITN. We have some producer slots open. We haven't for a long time. So if you want to be a producer, get thanked every week, check it out. And speaking of which, huge thanks to our producers, Declan H., Sean B., and Mike R. Thank you for the support. Also, we're live Thursdays around 3 p.m. Eastern Time right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. We appear to have fixed whatever the issue was with our drop frames. We're not on YouTube this week. Don't know what it was. Just randomly worked again. So, hey, here we are back on Twitch. I will eventually put a sentence together. Follow the show on Twitter @ITNcast. And find more of Kyle and me at youtube.com/AMoveTV because Kyle and I are playing through Final Fantasy XIV for the first time ever. We are in Heaven's Ward. We have a video up about our first big chunk of story, getting through that. And we just released a new video this week kind of explaining the major differences between how Final Fantasy XIV handles classes, they're actually called jobs, and World of Warcraft. This is our first big Final Fantasy XIV v Warcraft discussion. It permeates everything because I came from Warcraft, you came from Warcraft. There's always going to be that influence, but this is the really big one where we tee it up and kind of chew on what we like about what Final Fantasy XIV does, what we like about what World of Warcraft does, and maybe where the two could learn from each other. It's a cool video. I like it. It's also it's performing very well. Congratulations on the video release this week, Kyle.
Oh, well, congratulations, Garrett.
Well, drink after this. Other than that, dude, where can folks find you?
You can find everything I do over at kyleferguson.com. Of course, with that grinding gear project, the youtube.com/AMoveTV project, taking a lot of hours, a lot of effort, a lot of love. Some projects have slowed over at kyleferguson.com. You may have noticed, but things like the There Will Be Dungeons D&D show still happening, still getting to play some Barbarian, still playing a lot of D&D in my own time, and really appreciate you all joining us over there.
I really don't want to promote much other than the YouTube. I'm just so stoked with how it's been going. It's so cool to get to work on a video project with you, man. You've been killing it with the video editing since you took that over. You. So everyone go watch Kyle's Blood, Sweat, and Tears over at youtube.com/AMoveTV. He is really busting his ass on this, and I'm so I know it's weird to say proud. We're the same age. I'm not your freaking dad. But I'm so proud of your video editing, man. You've like absolutely been killing it. So check that out. A-Move TV for everything else. You know where to find my stuff. See you on Twitter at Garrett Art. See you in the Nexus. Until next week, good luck and have fun, everyone.
Take care.